Since adding jackfruit to the menu at her vegan eatery, Ali Pike and her staff have found themselves having to reassure customers that what they are eating is definitely not meat. The tropical fruit, which holds the title of the world's largest tree fruit, is the key ingredient in the Hawaiian burger dished up at Ms. Pike's The Alley in Melbourne. At The Alley, jackfruit is prepared to look and taste like pulled pork, as it is at a growing number of cafes and restaurants in Australia. "I had a girl come up the other day who was devouring it," Ms. Pike said. "My cashier had to assure her there was no meat in her burger. She just was so dumbfounded that it was vegan." Ms. Pike thinks it is not so much the taste of jackfruit but its consistency that fools people. "I think a lot of what we eat is based around the sauces and flavorings," she said. "When you soda jackfruit with some tomatoes and you create a barbecue sauce and throw in some onions, it creates this really smoky flavor and you create something that's texturized like meat into a plant-based delicacy. While the green, or unripe, jackfruit has little of its own taste and takes on the flavor of whatever sauces or flavorings it is prepared with, the ripe fruit is quite a different story." Alison Salaras and her husband Peter have been growing jackfruit on their property Fruit Forest Farm, just north of Tully, Queensland, and sending their produce to markets in Sydney and Melbourne for about 15 years. Ms. Salaras said unlike the green fruit, ripe jackfruit had a distinctive taste. "It tastes like juicy fruit chewing gum," she said. She is not surprised that green jackfruit is winning favor as a meat alternative. "I make a curry out of green jackfruit. I see it as being more like chicken than pulled pork, but if you were to really tease it out and pull it apart I could imagine it would be like pulled pork," she said. "With the curry I make, you cut the skin off and you use the whole rest of the fruit. It's delicious and it tastes like chicken." During the jackfruit harvest months from November to March, the Salaras family sends 300 to 500 kilograms of fresh jackfruit a week to markets in the southern states. Australian jackfruit production is concentrated around Darwin and tropical Queensland. According to research body AgriFutures Australia, in 2011-12 jackfruit production was around 742 tonnes with an estimated gross value of about $2.6 million, with demand for the fruit rising. Meanwhile, a Northern Territory-based research project is aiming to improve yields for local growers. Ms. Salaras said the market for jackfruit was still very niche and relatively small, with most of the customers who bought jackfruit at retail markets Asian consumers, who traditionally ate fresh jackfruit in a wide range of sweet and savory dishes. But that may be beginning to change, with a wider consumer base becoming exposed to jackfruit as it increasingly finds a place on restaurant menus. So popular has jackfruit become at hipster cafes and vegan eateries that when Ms. Pike first added it to her menu, she was advised by her supplier of a looming jackfruit crisis due to the fruit's increasing popularity. "I bought a pallet.